Welcome to World News by Halandzovskyi. If you value calm, clear, and fact-based reporting on complex geopolitical dynamics, please subscribe, leave a comment, and share your perspective. Today, we break down a maritime blockade of oil tankers near Venezuela, a situation with implications for energy supply, regional politics, and international law. In recent weeks, a blockade has formed around Venezuelan waters involving naval and coast guard vessels from multiple nations. The aim is to intercept and prevent oil tankers suspected of transporting crude linked to illicit networks or operating in violation of international sanctions or agreements. Venezuela has some of the largest proven oil reserves in the world. For decades, oil has been central to the country's economy, generating revenue for public spending, social services, and foreign exchange. But years of sanctions, economic isolation, and mismanagement have weakened production infrastructure. Now, the blockade reflects a concerted effort by coalition partners, including the United States and several regional governments, to restrict the movement of tankers associated with Venezuelan exports that may evade legal controls. Authorities say the goal is to disrupt networks that profit from sanctions evasion and to diminish revenue streams that can support undemocratic governance or illicit activities. Officials involved in enforcement operations describe the blockade as a mix of interdiction, inspection, and deterrence. Naval units and Coast Guard ships monitor shipping routes, communicate with tanker captains, and in some cases inspect cargo manifests or energy cargo for signs of irregularities. Venezuelan officials have denounced the blockade as an illegal interference with sovereign maritime rights. Caracas argues that its oil exports are a legitimate exercise of national economic policy and that unilateral blockades violate international law. The situation reveals a fundamental tension: governments attempting to enforce legal and ethical norms at sea versus the principle of freedom of navigation, a cornerstone of maritime law that allows commercial vessels to move freely outside territorial waters. The blockade has economic, political, and security implications that extend well beyond the immediate geography. Global energy markets. Oil prices are sensitive to supply disruptions. Even if Venezuelan exports account for a smaller slice of global oil output than in decades past, uncertainty about tanker movements can ripple through commodity markets. Traders and energy analysts pay close attention to blockades because they signal shifts in supply risk, contract reliability, and geopolitical volatility. Consumers in energy-importing countries may not see immediate price spikes, but longer-term market responses can emerge if supply routes remain constrained or if buyers seek alternative sources. Some governments are already reassessing energy diversification strategies to reduce dependence on politically unstable supply lines. Regional politics. Latin American governments have responded in various ways. Some support enforcement efforts, viewing them as part of a broader push to pressure undemocratic regimes and combat organized crime. Others criticize the blockade, warning that such measures can escalate tensions and hinder diplomatic solutions. For countries in the Caribbean and South America, the balance between security cooperation and national sovereignty remains contentious. International law and norms. Naval blockades in peacetime are rare and legally sensitive. Traditional blockades are recognized in armed conflict, but peacetime maritime interdictions require careful legal grounding, such as United Nations sanctions, authorizations, or multinational agreements. Without broad international consensus, enforcement actions can be perceived as unilateral, raising questions about legality and precedent. Legal experts stress that boarding, diverting, or detaining civilian tankers without clear legal mandate can undercut principles of free trade and free navigation. These debates are likely to unfold in international courts and diplomatic arenas in the months ahead. Venezuela's position. Caracas has condemned the blockade and mobilized rhetorical support from allied governments. Venezuelan leaders have framed the situation as imperialist interference, rallying domestic audiences and framing external measures as attacks on national dignity and economic survival. How this rhetoric influences domestic legitimacy and regional alliances remains to be seen. Thank you for watching this analysis on World News by Halandzovskyi. If you found this explanation informative, please subscribe, leave a comment, and share your perspective. Independent reporting helps us understand how energy, law, and geopolitics intersect in our changing world. Stay informed and see you in the next update.